Nice control through the hoop. Oh, sometimes it just rolls on, doesn't it?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, still an okay rush. Now, just looking at croquet scores at the men's golf croquet, we've got some people playing very well, a few upsets as well. So it looks like in block 2, Bob Martin from Queensland has so far had a clean sweep, so that's really
well done.
quite good. He's done very well there, and Stephen Forster is also playing well in that block, which is good to see.
Yeah.
You know, long time AC faithful, playing a bit of golf croquet, which is always interesting. Just look at the women's as well.
And it's certainly been said before, those who play golf croquet, if they venture over into AC, it certainly helps their game, and vice versa. Those who play AC, if they venture over to GC, it certainly improves their single ball strokes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quite symbiotic.
Very good.
So it looks like Robert could quite possibly be trying to rush red over after 3 back and do a peel.
So the women's looks similar. We don't have any real upsets. So Beatty's playing quite well, as is Kate McLaughlin. Elaine Coverdale's still on no losses. So some good play there as well.
Nice work.
So it looks like Robert might be attempting to get a rush on red here over to Rover initially, and then peel Rover after 3 back. So a little interesting ball movement here. Need good control through the hoop, and you know it's running through to 4 or 5 yards.
Lovely.
It's a pretty good shot. Yeah, a little bit long.
Yeah, you can cut that.
So he might still try and cut it. Yep.
Plan B.
Yep. So we'll see a straight Rover peel if he gets around to it.
Yeah.
No need to, you know, try anything too fancy.
No.
Before then. So I haven't seen much, you know, out the back of the venue. There was a housing development going up a few years ago. Do we know anything about what's happened with that? You know, still looks like flat ground behind there.
Yeah, that's a bit cheeky. Yes, it is well known that we have purchased land at the back there, and we were been waiting for 5 years now for our house to be built. It is still nothing. We were hoping it was going to be ready for the Mac, but it wasn't to be. But no, we're patient people. We can wait. It's well worth it.
Yeah, so it is still on its way. There is going to be you know, housing out the back of Canley, which will be
nice
to have some structure. a few windbreaks around the venue.
Correct.
Rather
Yes,
than being such an
definitely.
open field.
There's
And
certainly
lighten the
a lot
place up.
more infrastructure popping up around. There's a few, you'd call them, I guess, mid-rise buildings and apartment blocks that have been popping up. So hopefully might, look, really, it is pretty windy here. So maybe it'll never make it any different, but we can try.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, and it'll change the scenery, over the years we've seen, as you're saying, a lot more has been popping up, rather than just being, mostly flat around Canley. It is out of Melbourne for those who haven't been to Canley. It's maybe a half-hour drive out of the centre of Melbourne. So it is in the burbs, not in the city, but it is starting to get more developed around the area, and it's good. It's where there's land, to have such a venue of this size.
Edward, it looks like I'm off to go and have a bit of a warm up for my next game. I'm going to hand over now, but thanks for having me.
No worries. Thank you, Claire. Good luck if you do have a playoff. And if not, I hope you enjoy watching some more croquet.
Hi, Edward.
Thanks, Robert.
Rosie here. I'm on now. Sorry.
Thank you, Rosie. Good to have you. We've got Robert on the finishing stages of a triple peel. So he's got 2 peels done, and he's just heading over to his load at Penalt. So good days croquet unfolding.
Yeah, I was watching earlier this morning. Good match there with Claire and Trevor. Always wonderful to watch the Bassets play each other, which is terrific. So nice to see this finish. And it's a best of 3 final, is that right, Edward?
I'm not actually too sure. Find out the viewers. I'd be surprised since they did have the final game of the block rounds this morning, so that would stretch it out to 5 games today, if it were to go to 3.
So that might be a little bit too much.
It may be time dependent though. If the players do finish, if this game finishes soon and they do have time, they might agree to have a best of 3. That certainly can be done at most events. Croquet is not, as it is an amateur sport and it is volunteer and player driven. The formats of events can be changed from time to time, depending on time constraints and what can be done. So if both players in the final, agree that they've got enough time and are willing to have it go to a best of 3, then that'll make for some really, really good viewing for all of us at home.
Yeah, agreed. No, it's as you say, that's one of the beauties of our sport, that we can be adaptable like that. I suppose my comment is born out of, I know Trevor absolutely adores that format, and we normally say it's the true test, don't we? But as you say, they'll have already played enough today, necessarily wanting to play more in the chilly, windy Canley conditions.
Yeah.
Looks like a nice setup for Rover. Is it a Rover peel? I'm assuming.
It will be. Yeah. Yep. We're looking at a straight rover peel, and then to the peg.
Okay. Putting a deep ball or a side ball. I'm not quite sure whether he would consider the black sidey enough. No, so he's going in.
Yeah, so put in a more appropriate side ball with blue. But as far as control goes, he won't be desperate, or clearly isn't as desperate to get a really good side ball as he is to get control over red. The most important thing is having good control around the hoop. So if you're as tight on red as possible, and have a nice short peel, then having a good side ball doesn't matter as much. It's only really when you've got balls that are loose, if red wasn't in an amazing position and quite a long way to the side or quite deep, that you'd really focus on getting a good side ball. So yeah, straightforward peel as you saw. No need for anything too strenuous as far as the side ball was concerned. So he's got good position to peg out here and take it to the final. So good turn played from Robert. Not over till it's over, but as far as playing goes, Robert doesn't fail many of these. One yard peg out. Well done to Robert. He's taken both, so into the final for Rob. He'll be playing against Trevor Bassett, so we'll end up finding out the format soon. It is just after midday, so we will be able to see the final coming out soon. We'll get word as soon as we know what the format will be, whether it is a best of three or an individual. Do you have any predictions for the final, Rosemary? There we go. So you can see on screen the card for Robert. Obviously, quite a adept player. -3 handicap in both versions of the game. He's won this event last year. And he's obviously the youngest world champion of all time in Association Croquet. So very good player. Fantastic to watch. Extremely consistent, and really powerful and aggressive with his playing decisions.
Sorry about that. I had myself on mute, but I was just going to say, yeah, all those things. And I was going to say the other thing that's really obvious is Robert switching back from the timber mallet. I'm not sure if we've been talking about that today. And going back to, I'm assuming it's the Fletcher, the one he made himself. So,
No. So
he gave that.
the mallet that he was using was actually the Dawson that was made for him
Oh, it's a Dawson.
in
Oh, wow,
2008.
wonderful.
Yeah, so he'd
So
gone
it's the
back
long
to
one.
using the Dawson. Yeah, yep. So yeah, Robert's current mallet is his Pidcock that he won the World Championship with, which he's gone back to just as it's, very consistent for him. The reason he had gone back to the Dawson was for the balls, as we've talked about. The new balls have those nuances, and some players, I've been experimenting with wooden mallets as well, can get better results for those balls, as they are.
Yeah, yep.
They do react differently, so wooden mallets can help overcome that.
Yeah. Well, I played with, just
are-
before swapping to mine, have you ever played with a Percival? I played with a Percival, which is the mallet that Chris Clark used to play with, and he recommended it was beautiful, have to say. Just doesn't hold up to Australian conditions in terms of the timber, unfortunately. And here we've got Lachlan just popped up. Also plays both.
Clearly an adept player, all levels of croquet. There you go. So he won the Vic Open doubles last year with Josh, who is playing in this event. So clearly also quite adept at all levels of the game. That's no gift of an event to win. Great to play in. And
fairly new to the game, do you think?
I'm not sure. Quite obviously modern style, and I haven't seen him before or played against him or met him, so it's good to see more players and more names out at all events.
Agreed. It's really good. And it looks like, looking at the events that he's putting himself into, it looks like we'll be seeing a lot more of him in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. He clearly wants to play high level croquet, and taking it to Robert just then, played quite well. Robert's a tough competitor to beat, so he can be proud of his effort in that match. Back to your comment about Percival. Sorry, I actually own a Percival.
Good on you. Well done.
Experimenting with it. I just haven't, obviously it's quite a big change from playing with a carbon fiber mallet to playing with a wooden mallet.
Is.
So, I haven't fully made the commitment to playing with it. I'll do some more experimenting and see where I end up with, but there's definitely advantages to it, and it'll be only time will tell what I'll end up doing.
And the other one is when I did swap over, I actually play with a hobcock, which is a pidcock head with a hob's handle. I'd originally had a full hob's mallet as well, which again is a timber mallet. And I have to agree, they feel so beautiful in your hands, and they feel beautiful when you actually strike the balls really well, particularly 2-ball strokes there. That it's noticeable that it's sort of like driving a manual car in an automatic. That's strange, but that's sort of how it felt. But as a person who probably didn't have very much power, I would have to say transitioning to the the pidcock head with the wonderful peripheral weights and all that sort of stuff really suited me. But I still do very much love my Hobbs handle. I know Stephen Forster plays with a hobcock as well. And, we both love our mallets.
Yeah, very good.
So court one, it looks
So-
like.
Yep. So we've got an interview with Robert that we can play for you now.
My name's Robert Fletcher, and I took up croquet in 2003, and it was with two of my brothers as a family activity, looking for a sport that we could play together. So when I took up croquet, I was 10 years old. My most satisfying experience in the sport would be the 2017 McRobinson Shield, where Australia won the AC World Team Championships. Australia hadn't won it for 82 years, I think. So it really was climbing Mount Everest for us. The most exciting thing I've witnessed in a game would be 2014 McRobinson Shield. James Deeth undertaking a septuple peel attempt on a diabolical lawn in a World Team Championship, and he didn't complete the turn, but still what he had played during that turn was definitely the best turn I've ever seen. So that was pretty special. My ambitions in the sport for myself personally, I'd like to play more golf croquet. I'd like to play some individual world championships, and some more world team championships as well, if I can. Top tips for a new player: say, get a good mallet. Get something that's made well by a professional mallet maker. Get online. There's heaps of resources out there for beginners. Oxford Croquet website, it's really good. Find someone who's good at the game. Croquet is a great sport in that people are really generous with their time. So find someone who's really good, and get some pointers. Yeah, my tips for established players: make sure you've got a good mallet, and get out to competitions where you're really going to be pushed. Even if you think you're not up to it yet, it's better to get out there and really see the top level players playing, and not just watching them go out and play against them. And then you can really get a feel for what you need to do in training to get yourself up there and competing regularly at the top level. Croquet for me has been I started when I was young, obviously, so I guess it's a bit of a journey of introspection. It's been really good. I mean, you essentially get to you have to figure out pretty quickly how to deal with losing, firstly, and then how you'll deal with winning as well. Yeah, I think as a young person, that was really helpful to be able to go out and kind of compete, and there are lots of parallels in sport to other areas of life. So I'd say really helped me with I guess kind of mental toughness and really riding out the highs and lows of life.
That was fantastic. Great to hear Robert speaking about how he started with his brothers, and I think we all know the story in croquet, but it's great for the wider croquet community and anybody watching who doesn't play to see the world champion speaking and talking about the sorts of things that you need. It's very practical advice, did you find? There wasn't much talk about being too tough and all that. It was just putting yourself out there, making sure you've got some good equipment, good tools, and moving forward. I think, Edward, we've got an interview with Brian Reither, and Brian's the guy, Reither, who this event is all about. Any of us who've been to Kenley know Brian really well. One of the best tournament managers in the business, if not in the world. Much respected and much loved across Australia as the manager of this venue and others. what's your take on Brian, your experience with Brian over the last couple of years, Edward? We might have lost him for a minute because there's a bit of a break going on, waiting to go in.
Let's go straight into the interview with Brian Reither.
What a great idea.
My name is Brian Reither. I took up croquet in 1999. There was a come and try croquet day advertised. I've been hooked ever since. One of my most satisfying achievements is several. The ACA Achievement Award, life membership of the VCA, life membership of my Alexandra club. What's the most exciting thing I've witnessed? One would be Alex Verge's jump shot to win the women's championships. Robert Fletcher's sextuples, both brilliant events. My ambitions for croquet is to see younger generations. It would be lovely to find a few more Fletcher families and just to see the sport grow and to see it accepted as a sport by the community and not just a social club activity, but a real competitive spirit. One of my top tips for new players: to practice, practice, practice. Fine-tune your shots, put in the time and you will be rewarded. What's the importance of croquet in my life? If you ask my wife and family, croquet has become my life in the last 20 years since I took retirement. What's croquet done for me? It's gave me friends Australia-wide. It's gave me a lot of enjoyment. It's kept me fit and healthy for the last 20 years.
The man himself. He underestimates the impact that he's had or has and continues to have in croquet. Looks like someone's come out on lawn 1, but potentially just crossing over to get to their lawn. So are you back with us now, Ed Wood?
Yep, I'm here. Great to hear from Brian there. Truly well respected and loved member of the community. So it's good that there is an event in his honour, and good to have some great play out today. And I'm looking forward to this final quite a lot. Should be a close one. You know, Robert not finishing all of his high level turns. I'd say since he's looked to set up a sextuple in every single game so far, that we might be seeing that again if he does get in. And Trevor has been getting close with a lot of his triple peels. So it'll be good to see. You know, he's completed one and then put down 3 others. So you know, if he does get in, he's more than capable of completing one against Robert. So it could go really either way here. 2 players in good form is always what you want to see for the final.
Yeah, I think, and you're quite right. Robert's not going to underestimate Trevor in any way, shape or form. You know, we talk about Trevor these days not being at his best, but we've also seen, certainly in the last 6 months, a renewed Trevor, and Trevor who's extremely well respected as a player. He has the most amazing skills. His touch skills are beautiful. And as we were saying yesterday, when he's got his groove in and flowing, nobody looks more likely to complete than Trevor. He certainly does. So I think it's just a matter of settling down into that groove, and he could certainly, as you say, he'll be mindful of the fact that Robbie's been setting up for sextuples and attempting sextuples. So I'm pretty sure that's in the back of Trev's mind. We might see, could we potentially see TPOs if that happens and things like that. it will be really interesting. I think Kate's got some commentary she'd like to give. Are you there, Kate?
Yes. I wanted to mention a couple of things. This event is Brian Reither was put on for the first time last year. In the middle of the COVID time, it had to be an elite competition, and we developed two of them. There was this one and also the Owen Edwards, which is a golf croquet challenge, and that will be happening again this year in early November. So that also is going to be live streamed. That also very much an elite event, and that format to have an event confined to elite players is something that we developed so that we would meet the requirements of the COVID, but it also gave us some absolutely wonderful competition. And so we're repeating that in November. And we have an interview with Owen Edwards, which we could show you. But before we do that, I just wanted to get some discussion of an issue that was raised by Robert. He played croquet from the age of about 11. And both he and Brian mentioned getting players involved young. That's something you've done, isn't it, Ed? You're still you're a young man. What is it that attracts people to croquet, and how might we attract more people to croquet before they get to retirement age?
Well, look, it is a challenge because croquet does take quite a lot of time, but there really is nothing quite like the mental and skillful challenge of croquet. So, look, the people you need to get, they know it when they start. So it's just about exposing, more people to our wonderful sport. Getting it out there in schools and whatnot, and trying to get people, involved as a group. So, as we've mentioned, Brian in his interview mentioned, it'd be nice if we could find another group of Fletchers. It'd be fantastic. But as long as croquet is out there in the community and people know about it, the right people will naturally come along and be involved. I knew from the moment that I started that I wanted to play croquet. I found it, really interesting and exciting, and quite unlike anything else. So as long as croquet gets out there to the youth, the individuals who are attracted to croquet naturally will come along and join in. The issue with it for young people is it does take up a little bit of time, especially if you would like to be playing at a high level. So it isn't for everyone on that regard. But the people who are naturally able and interested to do it do manage to find the time. So it is just about getting it out there. And I believe you're doing some work on that.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ed, I think Greg Berry with the Academy at the moment is talking about speaking to, I know we are in New South Wales too, and Victorians are talking to Education Department to make sure, or to try and get croquet recognised as a school sport, which means that there are options other than contact sports or necessarily physical sports, so that when kids chuff off to their sport session every week or every couple of days a week, they go and do a session at croquet, or some go and do a rotation at croquet. And as you say, it's about getting a mallet in the hands of people, and it might not be for everyone, but if we're able to get the mallet in the hands of kids at school, then it becomes an option all of a sudden. But it is. I totally agree with you about the time thing. I mean, I started late. I started when I was 18, but and it was only because I was involved in the croquet family, and I think you've got a croquet family as well, Ned and Edward, and Stephen Forster. I think he started when he was about 10 or 11, and that was because of his mum. So a lot of it is because you're exposed to it in a family environment. So it would be great to get it into schools as recognised sport, the minute we do that, we're going to be able to pick up those kids who might otherwise not have ever had the opportunity. So that's a great thing for the youth, getting the youth in.
There is a competition about to be launched, a gold medal competition for the whole of Australia for under 21s. And there's going to be a bronze medal competition between junior players in the different states. So there will be a structure a competitive structure for students to enter into. We're hopeful to build on involvement with schools in Victoria. We have got an inter-school competition going on this year in Goulburn Valley. It's been really undermined by the break due to COVID. The COVID restrictions last year and the year before have made it really difficult to get the players and the clubs to be involved with students in schools, because the students in schools not being vaccinated. Members of clubs are feeling it's a bit problematic, exposing themselves potentially to catching COVID, and the restrictions have meant that they can't say, well, they have to be vaccinated. So I think now that we're all living with COVID a bit more, those activities will be able to restart.
Yes, we're finding exactly what you said in New South Wales. With this term, or the term we're just about to complete now, we've got at least half a dozen clubs that are running reasonably intensive sport for the entire term for year 10 and 11 students. Year 12 students, this is their busy time. And it's been going, the feedback has been very strong. So hopefully we're going to have some...
Now we have got the interview with Owen Edwards, so let's have a look at that. And this was a kind of an advance notice of the Golf Croquet Challenge, which will be held here at Canley in early November, the first weekend in November.
My name's Owen Edwards, and I belong to Ivanhoe Park and to Kew Croquet Clubs. My wife and I were walking in the park at Ivanhoe. We saw croquet being played. We were fascinated by it. The coach came out. She was a charming lady, Robbie, and we went in, had a few little hits, but my wife and I went back the following Saturday, and the rest is history. I think that was probably about 40 years ago. Yes, well, there's been a slight decline in participation in association croquet, but there's been a dramatic increase in golf croquet. And we've also seen the introduction of gate ball, which is dramatic in Asia, millions playing there. We've also seen a number of games of variations in association, particularly ricochet, which is probably the most popular game in Queensland. But the game, all told, is growing gradually, nicely. Well, as a player and as a referee, I've got two loves. And as a player, I won the Australian Championships in golf croquet 3 times. And as a referee, I've refereed or been in charge of referees in several world championships. Well, I would have preferred to see achieved a greater growth than we've experienced, and as such I was involved with the VCA and the ACA in promotion activities, and we ran numerous exhibitions in the exhibition building and at Jeff's shed and places like that to make the public more aware of the game. It's been a very slow process in that regard. The thing that worries me a little bit is that there are several variations being played of association croquet, ricochet, cue croquet and a few others. And I don't think it's a good idea to go too far away from the main game because that's what it really is, and it's the test of skill that is so enjoyable. It's made me enjoy getting out and getting my vitamin D ration because vitamin D is caused by getting some sunlight on your body. And I enjoy the outdoor environment. I think more than anything it's been the refereeing side, even though I've enjoyed the playing side more than the refereeing side, but it's attitude that is important, and the whole idea of croquet is that it's played by people who have good manners, and I like demonstrating as a referee good manners rather than being dictatorial, and I think that that's a change in society that can benefit us all. My top tip for a player, well, firstly, one should make sure that they've got a decent mallet, and whatever money you spend on a mallet, it really doesn't matter, they last forever. And whereas when I used to play squash and tennis, I'd break them regularly. As a matter of fact, I think I almost went broke playing squash because when you smack your racket against the wall, that's another $150 gone. But croquet, you can just have one mallet and it will last you forever. Another top tip, yes, there are occasions where I've surprised myself and I've learnt about myself because being in uncomfortable positions, facing being knocked out of the event, something seems to get hold of me and I become a different person. Not in a nasty way, but in an internal way where I feel that I have to do better. I have to rise above my normal mediocre sense. And I've had some success in channeling that. On 3 occasions, I found myself running behind and it looked as though it was all over, but something seemed to overcome me, and within my body, within my brain, something arose and made me determined to play better, and strangely I succeeded. And nobody was more surprised than me, but it was determination not to be, not to lose.
Bit of a hero, that man. So that was Owen Edwards, and the Golf Croquet Challenge, which we will be watching on live streaming in November, is named for Owen. He and Brian Reither, both life members of Croquet Victoria, so people who've given a great deal of service to the game. And in Owen's case, over a great many years, so 40 years since he started playing, he and his wife. So he's been national referee, international referee, and a national champion, and a big contributor to golf croquet and the development of golf croquet, which has only been around for only taken off, I should say. It's been around since the 1930s, but it's been played internationally since around the year 2000. And in Victoria, anyway, 2004, only 4 clubs played golf croquet. Everyone played association croquet. Now we would have probably half the clubs in Victoria do play association croquet, but all of them play golf croquet. And a lot of them have been buoyed up by that. And association croquet is now saying, whoa, we want to catch up and come back. And games like this one we're about to see, I think will help with that, because the excitement of association croquet is not in the jostling for each hoop. It's in the strategy that the players use and the skill with which they get around all the hoops. And here we have our 2 players coming out onto the court, Trevor Bassett and Robert Fletcher, having a handshake. And I would say that Trevor is on the blue and black balls. And welcome to Pete. So I think, Pete, you and Edward will be carrying the commentary on this the first part, at least, of this best of 3 final.
Yeah. Hello, Kate. Hello, Edward.
Hello, Peter. Great to have you with us. Opening
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Trevor, sort of level with Group 5 on the east boundary, so just a dry standard opening.
Tasty wee final to have given to us.
Yeah, should be a great match. And so, Kate, you just mentioned that it was a best of 3. That sounds like some really good afternoon viewing for all of us. Looking forward to seeing how this one comes out.
It's probably not the worst miss. It'll be quite a tight double for Robert. He won't be able to make 2,
Yeah,
Oh, unless the double from A balk
Yeah.
is a little bit more juicy.
it looks pretty close, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I think Robert hasn't even looked at anything else. That's yeah. So
Yeah.
first opportunity for
The-
Robert here if he does hit.
I was thinking of the B balk double where you can, set it how you like. Deal with a bit of curly lawn and put a little bit of gap or no gap. But this is it's a pretty good target for Robert.
Yep. Oh, there we go. So first advantage to Trevor. He'll be taking croquet first in this game. So with a narrow miss there for Robert.
With black and blue touching, do you know, Edward? I didn't quite see how he lined them.
Couldn't quite see on that angle. They look. Oh yeah, there we go. So yes, they were. Oh no, he's just straightening them up. Okay. So Trevor's got an option to try and rush blue into yellow here, try and get it out of the lawn a little bit, or try and get a cannon, which it looks like he has done.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to put out there. Some players would certainly play the line you did, or just make it a tight rush. But Trevor is one that does look for the cannons. He with his melody can get both balls moving pretty well.
Yeah, yep. And quite experienced at various different cannons across the lawn, so really knows what he's doing in terms of these style of shots, which helps, just having a knowledge of how these cannons work. A lot of inexperienced players, may struggle to work out where they want to put the balls to get them to go to the end result, but Trevor will know exactly where these balls are going when he plays this shot, and he looks to have played a really,
perfect,
really.
Isn't it?
That is a tremendous shot. Oh my golly! I think that's probably one of the best cannons I've ever seen. That was A grade from Trevor there. Wow,
It looked effortless as well, wasn't it? There wasn't much action on the melon at all.
Yeah.
Just
No.
like a fit takeoff.
Yeah. That was outstanding. Pretty long. Wowee.
Yeah, no, when Trevor pushes those up, he only wants 8-inch shoots at the most, and he's happy for a little bit. Oh, Trevor. It's unlucky because that was a perfect start.
That's a disappointing end to that turn, because that was magic.
I'm glad I didn't say what I was
yeah.
going to. I was just saying, well, Trevor's walked out onto this court like, ready for this match, and every shot was on the money. And I thought, this is great. This is good, setting up the match really well. If he could take first break, but not to be. Oh well.
Yeah. Yep.
Robert, we're thankful for this 7-yarder to get back in and punish Trevor for that.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it might be a touch less than 7 yards. This is as good an opportunity as you get as an opponent walking onto the lawn, isn't it? You can't ask for anything really easier than this position. A couple of balls sitting around one. So good for Robert to have a shot without too much pressure. He knows that as long as he makes contact with blue, he's got the lawn, and there is much better a feeling than just being handed an easy start at the beginning of a tough final. So Trevor will be looking forward to his next opportunity to come out onto the lawn. But as far as this goes, you'd have to assume that Robert will be able to make a break out of this and take it, and indicating by that croquet stroke that was also absolutely on the money. So as long as there isn't a similar error here, Robert's got it all to do, and we may see another one back leave.
Oh, well, that's what I was going to throw out there, Edward. Seeing it's now best of 3, does Robert now just go back to percentage lines of play? Whereas in single games, he could get rolled if something does something special. So he's possibly thinking one back leave stuff was the correct line of play. But does he now just go to first game of a best of 3, play the percentages and make a 9 with a leave?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Look, just the fact that he has looked to set up to one back in every single game so far, I would assume that he'll be looking to do the same here.
Same, yeah. Certainly,
especially
good for the viewing aspect of it. Get to see multiple appealing turns. It's great.
Sure.
So and you're right. He is looking like he's pushing and stretching out the difficulty of the game. So he probably isn't going to change.
But as you said, you've got a little bit more or a lot more experience in best of 3s situations than myself, so you can probably speak to it a little bit better. But I know that at the start of a best of 3, I'm generally okay and happy. Oh well, here you go. So he's looking at the top here. So
okay, yep.
Potentially trying to miss the hoop. Yeah, trying to miss the hoop.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would have been a pretty immediate indication if he did.
Yeah, he got down on the ground on a couple of croquet strokes yesterday where he wanted to send balls just past hoops, and he was making sure the line was perfect, not to clip the hoop.
Yep. Yeah, Robert is certainly a perfectionist, which is why he's so good. Just with the consistency of how hard he tries with every single shot.
He's playing at a good clip as well. He looks very relaxed out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And playing good shots while playing quickly. Playing quick for a lot of players can mean that they get a little less tidy. But Robert, still playing cleanly and everything on point while playing quickly is a pretty good sign that he's feeling good on court.
Feeling good, yeah. And even though we're saying Robert's playing quickly, he still was extremely deliberate, and the setup's perfect. And every time he's just getting to that position quicker and trusting he's in the position a little bit quicker. He's certainly not rushing he's not putting anything at risk because he is moving a bit quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious thing is Trevor will be disappointed. He was running a lot of those little close hoops quite well, what I saw this morning, because as you say, Trevor does push that ball up to give him a very short hoop run. So he is used to having a couple of angled hoops, which he handles quite well. So he will be pretty well miffed at that, because he's been getting through those with ease.
I guess, it did look quite angled, up to 40 degrees, I'd say, comfortably. So not an easy one to run.
You don't have to be far off, do you? When you get a healthy part of the leg, and it's not going through.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, and if these hoops have been tightened up, you can see on this camera angle particularly that the carrots are sticking out of the ground. So that's an indication that they are in quite, probably in quite firmly. And these, I would think for a high level event, these have been reset before the final.
So I've been seeing them out there checking the hoops, and certainly yesterday Mike Conn was out there tapping them down and checking them all whenever he had an opportunity. So it's good.
Yep.
Makes it the toughest hoops for the players, which is what they want.
Okay, so there we go with the first indication that Robert will be looking to set up a one-back leave here. So the reason that players put a ball over to hoop 6 initially is you want a really quite good load at hoop 6, and it's easier to do that from after running hoop 3 than it is all the way from behind hoop 4. And if you do fail to get that load in position, you can always rush out of hoop 4 down and play around to make them better. But Robert's got that pretty well on the money. Maybe
these balls are perfect.
A foot further west is generally where you'd like to have it, but in front of the hoop, anywhere within a yard is a pretty good position to be playing to. So this does look like, just from that early indication, it might have just been where yellow had ended up as his pivot, that he felt more comfortable putting it there than pushing it up early, but it is, and where blue's gone. So we should be seeing another SXP attempt here.
For the players who are experimenting with, maybe not sextuples, but hopefully sextuples, but experimenting with some one-back leaves and cross-wiring leaves, you couldn't put the balls out much better if you want to watch Robert, what he does here. There's always a couple of options how to set the one-back leave, but whatever Robert does here, I would say go and put the balls out and do exactly this, because it's a pretty valuable tool to have.
And just the fluency with which he's playing. I don't know. I'm pretty keen to see this if he does get a chance to have a go at it. This is why we love watching high level croquet. It's, as Rosie mentioned just previously, it's not as exciting with every single shot being exciting. It's exciting in the situation of what they're doing and how technical all of these shots are. Robert's really precise, and when he's playing quickly and with a lot of precision, it's an absolute joy to watch. So fantastic that this is being live streamed, and you never know, could be putting it on for the cameras.
Rosie loves watching Robert do this stuff. It's perfect scenarios. Just pushing the boundaries always, and playing to Robert's strengths, but not just playing stock standard stuff. Why I said why it's good to watch Robert does. I was just wondering if there is two lines of play. I kind of play the line of play Robert has here, but there is quite a few players that rush that blue ball up past the black ball or the yellow ball, and and stop shot it down to control this hoop better. But the takeoff is
Well, that's what
kind
Robert
of what I got shown
intended
very
to do in
early
the
on.
last game.
Yep.
Yeah,
but it
so
shows it
that's
both
what Robert
ways,
did in the last game. Really, the way I was taught to do it, you know, you'd generally be looking to take off if the ball at hoop 6 is in a really good position.
It's good, yeah. Yep.
So you know that you're going to be able to control that hoop and get your rush back, so you can try and get a better position on the ball down at hoop 1. So Blue's in a quite good position for where Robert is playing, except he's rushed that right onto the back of yellow, so he's got a little bit of work to do.
Got a bit of work to do.
You know,
he's going to need a good rush on that blue ball, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. To get it
get
into
it to the
any
wire
sort of
as well.
position that he likes. Yep. So
It's
yeah,
not going to be
if you do have
tight
that
as he
good ball
likes.
down at 6. No.
You prefer the takeoff if the
Yeah, much prefer the takeoff, just so you've got control of
yep.
that ball that you're leaving up at hoop 1. Wow, that has rolled right onto yellow, so it's only about a few mils away, as you can see on the angle there. So yeah, it's a frustrating one.
He's trying to give. It is. He doesn't have many options. He's got to play this after the shot a very good rush on blue, but he can manipulate